everybody, and welcome to Roundtable Live, the first episode of 2018. I'm BaerTaffy. That's Fancy Hands Mathis down there in the bottom left joining us again, and it's Northern Line up there in the top. Goldman replacing our boy Rockley Smile for the evening, as he is still out in the lovely land of Ireland. We wish him well. What's the line they're doing right now? Sweet dreams to little Nick, something like that.
Be happy, little Nick.
Be happy, little Nick. Be happy, little Nick.
Yeah.
We gotta wish him well. Gotta wish our boy well on his vacation. Hope he's doing good out there, and he'll be back, I believe, next week. I'm pretty sure he's going to be back for next week's show, so we'll have him for that.
It's a rare occurrence when the NLSS Circle Jerk comes up with a wholesome meme.
Yeah, it's real nice, isn't it? It's just a very good, well-wishing thing. I appreciate that. So it's a good feeling. We've got a good show today, though. It's just the three of us, but we'll be keeping you company here on your Friday afternoon. Glad to have you back as well. Appreciate y'all sticking around with us through the little break there during the holidays. Hope you had a good time yourself, and we're looking forward to keep on talking about games here in 2018 moving forward.
Because if we don't have a job.
That's right. We got to keep doing it, or we won't pay the bills. So
the question I have for you, though, after the holidays, is the Roundtable podcast show horny?
Whoa.
This is an unhorny show.
Mm-hmm.
I got to figure out.
Empirically unhorny.
All right.
What's the origin story here of this?
Most things on the internet that acquire a certain degree of fandom become horny in one way or the other.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's an ironically detached horny. Sometimes it's a authentic wear your heart on your sleeve kind of horny.
Okay.
This is an unhorny show.
We have to. Somebody's got to do like roundtable porn before we can be a horny show.
Don't ask for that. I don't want Roundtable Rule 34 on the internet.
Are you sure?
I'm positive.
That's a level of legitimacy you got to cross at some point, man. You gotta be willing to be comfortable with that threshold.
Somebody did do that, like Rule 34 3D render of me having sexual intercourse with Isaac.
Oh, I remember that.
That was
a weird one.
That, despite being a depiction of intercourse, or coitus, if you will, made me even less horny permanently. It had like a dampening effect on my baseline level of horniness.
It lowered your T.
The libido dampener.
Exactly.
Oh, man. That's an interesting line of thought to begin the show with.
The only time the show was horny was probably when, like, Max was on, because his voice is just
God, yeah, no, that was a little bit
silky smooth.
A bit of overkill there.
Yeah.
Well, we got a docket today. It's going to be fun. We're going to talk a little bit about the Independent Games Festival nominees, which is the 20th edition, I believe, of the IGF Awards, which is pretty cool. So we'll talk about the nominees there. We're going to talk about Steam's Year in Review. They have listed things such as their top-selling games and top-selling new releases, early access graduates, most played games of 2017. Really interesting stuff. So we're going to break that down, see maybe if we can make some good predictions there as well, see if we know the industry as well as we think we do.
Oh, have the awards already been, like, declared?
Well, I mean, it's not really awards. They've got, like, their Steam Awards, right? And then they did this other thing, which is, like, their Best of 2017, which is really just, like, statistical analysis when you think about it. So that's what that's going to be. Publisher blames PUBG for Lawbreakers flopping. And a headline about as entertaining as it sounds. We're going to dive into that one. Nintendo of America announces that the Switch is the fastest-selling console in American history. Quite the achievement there, so we'll break that down a little bit more. And on the opposite side of console success, Microsoft has completely discontinued the Xbox One Kinect adapter. So we'll probably just go ahead and say sayonara to the Kinect at that point in the show as well. Slay the Spire, which is one that's been around a little bit here. I want to hear a bit more in depth about the new hotness that's taken over here. What's the best like one game comparison for it? Would you say, or maybe two? Give me two.
Yes, okay, because it defies characterization as one game.
Okay,
it is essentially. I mean, there's definitely a way you could discredit this, but it's kind of like Hearthstone meets Darkest Dungeon would be an okay way to describe it. I think another way you could, if you want to go a little deeper, you could say it's a lot like Coin Crypt, which was another deck building roguelite. But yeah, in many ways, if you want to go for the most accessible comparison, it's Hearthstone meets Darkest Dungeon.
Would you say that Slay the Spire combat should be what Hand of Fate combat was?
Well, let's get, when we're getting that deep into it.
Why did that melt you like that?
I had to go through like 12 different mental wormholes to follow.
hold off on that. Let's get a little bit more in depth later.
Oh, okay, we're not okay.
Yeah. And then right after that, well, maybe even right before that, actually, we'll probably dive into our look at the upcoming games of 2018, stuff that we're a little bit excited about, and try to build the hype a bit. But for now, let's keep our focus back on last year and the best of, as it were. So we were talking quite a bit during our show at the end of the year, or when was that? I think the 15th of December is when we did that one, about our favorite games of the year. Of course, we were including AAA releases with those lists as well, so it wasn't like we had any sort of parameters there. But of course, the Independent Games Festival, as the name would imply, is all about the independent releases. So they're going to be focusing quite a bit more on the studios that don't have the massive funding behind them, don't have the big publisher names to try to get them spread out. Try to shine a little bit more of a spotlight on the stuff that's a little bit more deserving in the underbelly of the gaming world. I don't want to call it that. That has a very negative connotation. I want to call it let's just call it the independent world. How about that?
Is there like a list I can look at to take a guess from?
Yes.
Should I just be pulling like guesses out of the air?
So they don't. I don't know why they do this. You have to go to like an article on the IGF website instead of clicking on the finalists and winners list because they don't have it listed on there yet. But if you click,
they haven't updated their website, which just seems like that would be like the second thing you do.
Yeah, I was kind of shocked to see
ready
that.
the night of the awards so you can hit publish and be done.
Yeah. But there is, if you even if you just like Google the IGF finalists, you should find an article that'll be able to link you to it. But yeah, they do have the nominees listed out, so I'll go ahead and read them out for you too, so you're not in the dark here.
The one thing I will say just before we get started is that the IGF is kind of interesting in that it's going to be hard to make predictions because some of the games that are on the nominations list are not even out. Like the way the IGF works is like indie devs submit a build of their game as it stands, along with whatever the entrance fee is.
Right.
So stuff like that's how you end up with games that they don't come out until like 3 years later. They win IGF because it's whatever years that they've actually submitted it. So some of these games are done and out, and some of these games are in progress, and some of them are not out.
Yeah, that is important to know. Like I remember Night in the Woods in particular they submitted a build last year to the IGF nominations. I believe they even got nominated for something, and now of course they're being nominated for awards again. So that's why that's happening. But yeah, you're right. So let's start down here. The Nuovo Award. There's the best student game. I don't want to completely disregard that, but at the same time, we haven't played any of them. We got no idea what's going on with that, so I got to kind of skirt by it. But the Nuovo Award has a few interesting entries here. There's one that showed up quite a bit. I wonder if any of you guys, or either of you guys, I suppose, even heard of it or played it. Baba Is You?
No.
It got 4 nominations, even for the grand prize.
Yeah, I'm only aware of it after its nomination, but yeah, it looks interesting. And somebody said it's a programmy type game, so I don't know if maybe that appeals to me, but it looks
it's not out yet.
Not out yet. Yeah.
That's the other thing.
Coming in 2018, right? So they're quite excited about it. Apparently, though, it looks adorable. I'm just checking out the trailer that's on Steam right now. It's got a. So you're telling me this is going to be a programming meets cute game? That might be the one that gets me into it.
It doesn't look like programming at all.
No,
it looks like a Sokoban kind of game, like it's a tile moving or a block pushing sort of puzzle game.
Yeah.
With maybe some word related puzzles. It looks kind of neat.
Really interesting. Yeah, but they seem to be quite infatuated with it over there in the IGF judges booth. But yeah, anyway. Down here for the Nuovo Award, they've got Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy. Taratica Voodoo, haven't heard anything about that. 10 Mississippi, A Mortician's Tale, Cosmic Top Secret, Everything Is Going to Be Okay, Baba Is You, and Kids. So
2 of those.
Yeah,
games.
no, that is really that's a who's who of the deep cuts, I suppose, there for the Nuovo Award, which makes sense because this is an award all about like innovation and doing things differently. So it would probably be a lot of games that maybe even flew under the radar for people like us, which apparently they did, or they haven't. Again, they have not actually come out yet, or not totally finished.
I'm gonna go with Getting Over It because it's like the only one that I've played.
This happens a lot when you look at the IGF awards. You're like, I'm gonna vote for the one that I know, because I have heard of A Mortician's Tale as well, but a lot of these games I've only really started to hear about after the IGF nominations came out. So yeah, for us, it's kind of rich to say, I guess, but Getting Over It is definitely the most noteworthy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you got to take it with a grain of salt. But I mean, I think regardless of, I don't know how noteworthy the mechanics or even the influence or impact that these games had is in comparison. But Getting Over It like exploded and fits the criteria for this sort of award pretty well. So I think that alone is a lot of credence for its nomination.
Well, this happens a lot. Like if you look at the new OVO Award nominees last year, there's like Islands, Non-Places, Close, Diaries of a Spaceport Janitor, Oikospiel, Book 1, Everything, Virginia, Moo Cartographer, and Leave Oma. Like,
I still have only heard of one of those a year later.
I think 2 or 3 for me, yeah. But what ended up winning last year? Was it Everything?
It was Oikospiel, Book 1.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
By David Kanaga, who is the Proteus designer.
Oh, all right. Yeah.
Okay, well,
Sure.
yeah, I got that. Oikospiel.
Try to figure out how to spell that one phonetically.
Well, it's like I think it might be in Greek. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
typed oik, and there's oik 1, 2, 3, oik memory, and double oik.
Oh, damn.
And Steam.
Well, there you go. So yeah, we'll go ahead and just brush by that one. I'm sure there's high quality games throughout. Excellence in narrative, a few that we're familiar with here at least. We got Tacoma up there, Attentat 1942, which is by Charles University and the Czech Academy of Sciences. I got to figure out what the hell that game is.
Now
Man.
it sounds like it's an indie rock band. Charles University and the Czech Academy of
It
Sciences.
sounds like a guy's name, right? Charles University.
Oh, man.
Where the Water Tastes Like Wine. Night in the Woods made it up there for excellence in narrative. Butterfly Soup, and then surprising for me, Tooth and Tail made it up there for excellence in narrative for the IGF. Yeah. Some.
Well, Night in the Woods is my vote.
Yeah, there you go. Some honorable mentions. Dream Daddy, a dad dating simulator. West of Loathing did indeed get an honorable mention up here, so I can feel good about that. Mortician's Tale made another appearance on the honorable mentions as well.
I have like a historically really bad batting average in picking these, but I would and I think I do almost err on the side of like I'm so far out of the. Like, I don't want to say I'm out of the target audience, but I think there's a certain particular group of developers, like an archetype of developers and media that end up participating in the IGF that I don't always agree with in the stuff that gets accolades. And that's fine that there's a Game of the Year awards sort of thing that's not just Zelda.
Yeah.
But I would say that I would predict Night in the Woods, but I would not be surprised if either Butterfly Soup, Attentat 1942, or Where the Water Tastes Like Wine take it.
Yeah. Tacoma wouldn't surprise me.
I don't know, maybe, but I would be surprised to see Tooth and Tail win, even though I think it's got a cool kind of campaign with the story associated with it. But those would be my picks, I guess.
Wasn't it you when we were talking about that game that was saying specifically like when you're going through the campaign, they talk about all these different classes of enemies, and like it's the storming rebels against the mighty falcons or whatever, and you're like, I don't really give a shit whatever you guys are doing.
Yeah, but that's common.
Yeah.
It's like, but
so.
it's cool because it's kind of like it's an RTS, but the campaign is like it's an allegory for the communist revolution or something.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a neat take on it, and a game that's so mechanics driven to have a good story is not necessarily commonplace. So I think it's worthy of a nomination.
Yeah. Yeah,
it sounds if I'm gonna like anger everybody, like I really just I would rather see Tooth and Tail win than a visual novel, just because I'm an asshole.
Which one's the visual novel?
Butterfly Soup, but I haven't played. I'm not admonishing it, but I don't know. It just seems like it's like too easy.
I mean, if it's gonna win an award, it's gonna be excellence in narrative, right? It's not really standing out in excellence in audio design, I'd imagine.
I know, like I should have just kept my mouth shut, but like.
Can't help it
just seems
sometimes.
like I'd like to give people enough rope to hang me, I guess. Like I think it's more of an accomplishment in my eyes that a game that's not exclusively a story could have a story worth nominating, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
I don't disagree with that. Mathis, you're just pretty much firmly Night in the Woods camp?
Just because I don't know shit about anything else.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I mean, I know I played Tooth and Tail, but not the campaign. I just played multiplayer with Tooth and Tail, so I have no idea what the story's about.
Going one against the other there, I think you absolutely got to give it to Night in the Woods for that. But
yeah, I agree.
Moving up to excellence in design. This is definitely where it's going to be a lot more interesting of a conversation for us. We've got the upcoming game from the makers of FTL, Into the Breach, which I am very excited to eventually get my hands on, although unfortunately we can't actually, formulate an opinion on it at the moment. Shenzhen IO, which, man, that has been nominated this year when you're talking about Zachtronics having put out...
that's what I mean. Like, I guess they submitted it this year.
Yeah, I guess so,
instead of
right?
submitting it last year. Well, I was very surprised as well because I saw the tweet from the IGF and there was like a Shenzhen IO screenshot, and I was like, did somebody rip off Shenzhen IO? Because if so, I'm interested.
Yeah.
But yeah, no. Instead, it got a nomination, and I was like, that's cool, but very surprising, I guess.
I wonder if he even submitted Opus Magnum this year as well, or if he's holding off on that. But whatever.
Who knows, man?
Wilmo's Warehouse. No idea what's going on with that one. Baba Is You made another appearance. Ernog Unlimited. I was grain of salt. I was formerly sponsored by Raw Fury, but I was also very pleasantly surprised to see that one made an appearance on here on the IGF list. That was, I thought, kind of an overlooked indie release later on in last year, so that was cool. And then Getting Over It made another appearance there on the Excellence in Design list. A couple of very notable honorable mentions here. Dead Cells didn't quite make the cut, which, man, I am really shocked to see that. Factorio as well did not make the list for excellence in design. Did make honorable mentions at least. And then Heat Signature too. Like I would really contend for that one. That was quite impressive. The Gunpoint developer, Heat Signature, and then Space Pirate Trainer made it up there as well, the VR game. So interesting stuff. Yeah, but lots of really good choices for excellence in design.
I mean, I'm not going to surprise anybody, but I think Into the Breach I haven't played, but like you, I'm eager to play.
Yeah.
Me too.
I think Getting Over It is it's a super interesting game from a design perspective because, and we talked about this after we had Bennett Foddy on, it's really just like a physics engine plus a level.
Right, yeah.
Which is really cool, and I think that's super novel. So I wouldn't be even close to, disappointed if that won. But Shenzhen IO is such a unique game that scratches a very particular itch that is not going to appeal to everybody, but certainly for me, when I think of good design, I'm like, Shenzhen IO is extremely well designed. Yeah. And I will contend, I agree, either Dead Cells or Factorio easily could have made it into the finalists here.
I really wish either of them or both of them would have. I feel they deserve it, absolutely. Factorio especially. Like, that game is just incredible. Just the amount of thought that goes into the combinations and like contraptions available is just mind-blowing. So
what was the second one?
The second one on the official lists?
Yeah, the second one on the official
You got
list.
Into the Breach, Shenzhen IO, Wilmo's Warehouse, Baba Is You, Ernog Unlimited, Getting Over It.
Really? That's...
Yeah. No Dead Cells, no Factorio, no Heat Signature. Battle Chef Brigade actually made it up there in the honorable mentions as well. I was really curious about that one. Did you guys check that out? Or
Kate played it.
Yeah, I know Kate played it.
I got the empty box, like codes in your mail.
Oh yeah, right.
I don't know. I haven't played any of them, so I don't know.
Well, you've played Getting Over It.
Yeah, I guess Getting Over It. I just don't know if Getting Over It, like, I agree with Ryan. It's an interesting idea, like the design behind it, the anti-design as he called it, is interesting, but I don't know if that competes with something like Shenzhen IO or any of the other games. I would have put it to I would have given it to one of the honorable mentions, to be honest.
I might have too, yeah, to be honest. Like, I can hear a subset of the internet making the argument as well that Getting Over It might even be kind of poorly designed, given like the camera acceleration and all that shit that people get frustrated about, but it's also sort of part of the experience.
Every other episode was me yelling about how poorly this game is built.
But it's not.
It's not. It's really not. I'm trying to...
I was back and forth on it.
I'm trying to play a little bit of devil's advocate. Yeah, no, I would be very happy to see Getting Over It win this for sure. Shenzhen, I would totally understand. If Into the Breach wins this, I'm going to be very excited for that game. I'm going to really look forward to that release.
Yeah.
So, there we go.
Into the Breach is like what? Like turn-based mechs?
Well, that's the one that, like, the catch is that you can see what the enemies are going to do before they do it, right? So they telecast all of their actions, and then you have to act accordingly and strategize based on what you know they're going to do.
There's like territory control and robots and
stuff like that. It looks good. It looks pretty good. Unsurprisingly, I'm sure, with subset.
Yeah.
Excellence in audio. Quite a few great choices here. Tormentor X Punisher, Cuphead, Vignets, Rain World, Urnag Unlimited, yet another nomination, and Celeste. Some honorable mentions there to Hollow Knight. I am just so sad it didn't make the actual list. Like, God. Night in the Woods actually got an Excellence in Audio honorable mention. Tumbleseed made it up there with an honorable mention for Excellence in Audio as well. What do you think here? Cuphead, I gotta think, may have a pretty good chance here.
I'm gonna go between Cuphead and Rain World. Like, I didn't like Rain World all that much, but the audio for the game was great. Toss up for those two for me.
Yeah.
I only really played Cuphead. Like,
yeah.
I mean, I played Rain World, Urnag, and Tormentor X Punisher at conventions, but not enough to really. It's not really the greatest venue to gauge excellence in audio.
Right?
Yeah.
Hollow Knight got honorable mention.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just how
Really?
Like,
nothing against Torment X Punisher, but really over Torment X Punisher.
We're so close to not having to talk about Hollow Knight or PUBG. We're like almost
we got a
out
whole
of the
PUBG headline today, man.
I know.
We're not even close to out of the woods for that.
New year, new us. I don't know. So all I can really say is like Cuphead, if it wins, I think it deserves it. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily mean that it's the best because I'm not familiar with enough of the rest of them.
I agree. Urnag, I will say, did have impressive audio from what I played. However, it didn't really stand out to me. So there's that. Excellence in visual art. Again, a few that we unfortunately do not have personal experience with, but we got Night in the Woods made it up there. Cuphead, yet again, unsurprisingly. Echo, Luna, The Gardens Between, and Chuchel, I suppose is how you say that. I'd never seen or heard of that before, but Chuchel, I suppose, is the last one. Air Memories of Old made the honorable mentions list. Rain World, Hollow Knight, Tooth and Tail, Dead Cells, and Shape of the World.
I do not see how Cuphead loses this one.
I agree, yeah.
All the games up there look cool, is what I'll say. Like, I think Cuphead is kind of an easy choice because what it does so faithfully.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the style is unique. Or not unique, sorry. I mean the exact opposite. The style is derivative, but it's unique within games.
Yeah.
And it's such like a faithful recreation that it's really cool. Night in the Woods has its own fluid visual style that is unique as well. And then like Chuchel, it's from Amanita Games. They made like Samarost and Machinarium and Botanicula.
Oh,
like
Machinarium.
all those,
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so like all their games have a unique visual charm for sure. And I mean, the rest I'm not really familiar with, but the screenshot they chose for Echo is just terrifying. It's like a woman whose face is being crushed by a bunch of, cyborgs. It's kind of hard to tell.
Echo is, that stealth story game or something weird like that.
Yeah. So I think, I don't know. Again, it's another tough one, but I could see it going to anything. But I don't necessarily think Cuphead is just like a 100% slam dunk. But
sure.
I think it's another one where like whoever wins, you're like, yeah, it's not like they gave it to, no offense meant, but like Slay the Spire, which is not particularly strong visually.
I tend to pretty much agree there. I really when we look at these lists, I realize just how many good indie games still do fly under our radar, and these all look pretty damn solid. I wish I had played a few more at least, but yeah. Cuphead certainly stands out for me still, even looking at it a few of the screenshots here. It looks so good, and the animation especially is just so fluid and satisfying, not to mention the controls are so tight. Coupled with that, it just all works so well. Seamus McNally Grand Prize, given to the best independent game release of the year. We got Getting Over It with Bennett Foddy nominated, along with Night in the Woods, West of Loathing, Into the Breach, Heat Signature, and Baba Is You. Got some honorable mentions there for Tacoma, Rain World, Dream Daddy, Cosmic, Top Secret, Hollow Knight, Cuphead, and Everything Is Going to Be Okay. What is that game?
I don't know, but why is Cuphead and Hollow Knight on that fucking list? I don't know. I disagree with these lists.
That's like, again, it's the IGF appeals to a certain different kind of crowd. It's much less about mass appeal. Yeah, exactly. Because it's one of the few awards that actually, like, the majority of the voting populace is probably designers and other developers and people that work on like the indie side of the industry. It's less of like a press thing, even though press can get access to it. So you end up skewing into games that I think are like kind of game designers games.
Sure.
Stuff that people who make games are like, oh, it's really clever what they did there.
I'm surprised West of Loathing made the final cut for the top 6. Like, that's, if that wins, I'd be blown away above those 5 especially. Like, I don't even know if I feel it deserves it. Not because I love the game, but like, it's not that good, I don't think, right? Like, it's not really that impressive.
West of Loathing relies heavily on its writing.
Yeah.
It's not a mechanically, I don't want to say sound, but it's not a mechanically challenging game. It's very easy.
It doesn't really like break any
It's all about trying to figure out where all the jokes are in the game, more or less.
Like, it's an enjoyable experience. I really liked playing it, but it's just not really that impressive.
I think like the wild cards are definitely Into the Breach and Baba Is You.
Yeah.
That we don't really know much about. But I think my personal most likely choice, and this is essentially, it's one of the ones among the rest that I didn't actually play, but I think Night in the Woods seems like the most likely.
Yeah, I think
for me. It seems to align with other stuff that the IGF has given it to in the past. It came out and it had good critical reception, and there is a precedent for games that have already been out winning, for sure.
Yeah.
And it just seems like more robust, I guess, than Getting Over It. It seems more solid, at least in terms of the critical perception, than West of Loathing. And Heat Signature, I think that it could win. I wouldn't be surprised if it wins, but the long tail on that game has been a little bit deflated, I think. People were like, it was really good for like the first 5 or 10 hours, and then you realize that you're kind of just doing the same thing over and over, and like the same strategies will work for you. So it's like a cool sandbox, but it doesn't force your hand as much as maybe people wanted it to. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Night in the Woods win. But the other two, again, are completely, like, we have no idea.
That's really accurate about Heat Signature, and it's kind of unfortunate about that game, is that it really doesn't have a lot of staying power. But it was still, enjoyable for what it was, at least.
Well, I mean, like, last year they gave it to... I say they gave it to as if it's, like, with malice. But they gave the grand prize to Quadrilateral Cowboy, which is a game that I really like, but is also super uneven. And I think when you look at the other stuff that it was up against, like Inside, Stardew Valley, even Hyper Light Drifter and Overcooked.
Yeah.
On a more conventional level, you'd be like, that's probably going to Inside or Stardew Valley. Or maybe even, again, Hyper Light Drifter might have been the consensus choice. But so, I don't know. It comes down to kind of a dice roll, I think.
Yeah, I would not even be surprised in the least bit to see Night in the Woods take it. It does seem like sort of the Cinderella, what is the word I'm looking for? The slipper, the glass slipper. So
Cinderella story,
so whatever. it's lost. Getting Over It though could win as well. I feel like it's that dark horse this year that has kind of sort of started sprinting at the end. So yeah, lots of interesting choices though. I think I'll probably stick with you. I think Night in the Woods will likely take it home. What do you think, Mathis?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Night in the Woods, but a lot of that is because it's the one I know.
Yeah. You didn't play West of Loathing? I thought you did.
I did. I watched a little bit of West of Loathing. I was like, oh, I get it. Like, you'd be like, I get this game. I did.
You should have done that with Getting Over It. I feel like that would have served you a lot better.
God. Well, no, but then people watched Getting Over It and made money off of it.
Oh, well, there you go. Okay.
The Heat Signature I played, but I'm with you with like the long tail in that game wasn't huge. And like it was basically Hotline Miami with a cool space pirate theme, which I liked.
Yeah.
But Night in the Woods is going to be where it's at for me, I think.
I gotta check out Baba Is You though. Clearly, that's what this entire experience has told me so far. Cool. Okay. Well, there we go. That's our IGF nominations. We'll look forward to seeing what ends up winning, and we'll, I'm sure, follow up and recap it come showtime on March 21st. which is when the conference takes place.
Cool.
Alrighty. Let's go ahead and talk about Steam's Best of 2017. A look back at the full year. They've got all kinds of real interesting stuff on here. We'll go ahead and break this down. Did you happen to find it, Mathis, the actual breakdown here?
Oh, no, I did not.
No, okay.
I stopped looking.
No worries. So what we got to start off with, well, actually, I think I want to go bottom to top because they're going to start with the top sellers. So let's go down to, let's go with the most played games of 2017.
All right, I've got the award list open.
Sweet.
The ones that won.
So this is fun for me. So we got 9 games in the platinum category for most played of 2017. So I want to get you guys to guess. See if maybe you can get all 9 of the most played games of 2017. You ready?
All right, here we go.
Yeah.
PUBG.
Got it.
Dota 2.
Got it.
Counter-Strike Global Offensive.
Got it.
What other free multiplayer games are out there? Ryan, what do you think? GTA 5?
GTA 5.
Most played games of 2017.
Yeah.
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 You already said Counter-Strike?
You got it.
Yeah.
Paladins.
No.
Bullshit.
Is Rust up there? I don't think that
Rust
is.
isn't up there. No.
Oh, yeah, Skyrim?
Skyrim's not up there. It might be the first year Skyrim falls out of the platinum. Over 100,000 simultaneous players is what we're looking at here.
Rocket League.
Didn't make it. I'm disappointed.
What? No,
I'm real
that's
disappointed.
It's not possible.
I know.
Gary's Mod. Gary's Mod?
Gary's Mod, not up there.
Okay.
So you still got 4 out of 9.
Football Manager.
Football Manager did not make the list.
This list is full of lies.
Wait, have you got? I think. Oh, you got 4. That's right. Yeah, you got Dota. You got Dota, PUBG, GTA, and Counter Strike.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't actually get the full list of winners, by the way. It's not working properly. So.
Okay.
Well,
Well, that's probably for the best anyway. Well, there's a couple that I'm sure you know and that you just aren't thinking of. There's one that's a surprise up here. It's a competitor to one of the other ones. Maybe that'll help you out a little bit.
a competitor to one of the other ones.
Yeah.
You're talking about H1Z1 King of the Kill.
That's right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That gives you over 50% completion. Well done. You got 4 left. The most played of 2017. There's
I'm assuming here. I'm going to like top sellers temporarily.
I'm thinking like Call of Duty, maybe.
Nah, it didn't make it.
No.
Nah. You got to think about old games that have a huge install base.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That are either free or cheap.
That's what I was trying to think of.
Yep.
And that's why I hit like Dota.
We were on the right track.
Give me some moments. I'm working through it here.
Yeah, I think let me give you a hint here.
Is Team Fortress 2 up there?
Not up there, man. We're like some of the staples are starting to drop a little bit, man. We're starting to see some shifts in the dynamic here.
Terraria?
Terraria did not make it. Terraria, I'll tell you what, didn't even make the gold list. It's really dropping.
That's understanding. I can get that, though.
Yeah.
There's no way Siege is up there.
Siege is up there.
Really?
Platinum.
Wow.
100,000 simultaneous. That's 6 out of 9. 3 left. I'll tell you one is it's a game that you and I have played before together, Mathis.
League is not on Steam, guys. That's the difference.
Yeah,
There's no League of Legends on-
It's not Don't Starve.
It's not Don't Starve, no.
You and I have played it together. Huh?
Yeah. Way back in the day. Think about that.
Way back in the day. We played Terraria together.
Think about the Ohm Record days.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the Ohm Record days. I don't know what we played together in the Ohm Record days, though.
I'm pretty sure it was you. It was I don't want to spoil it though. There's another one. Let me give you another hint here.
Is Warframe up there? That's a good question.
Warframe's up there. There you go. Yeah, you got it. There you go. So we got 2 left.
Path of Exile?
Path of Exile didn't make it. That is gold though. 2 left. Mathis, come on, man. Think of our memories together. It wasn't that important to you, clearly.
Clearly, no.
I thought we
Don't
had
Starve
something.
is, like our best series.
It was.
Man.
That was great.
Still watch that. I still get a ton of comments on that series.
Payday?
You got it. Yeah, there you go. Payday 2.
Shit, really?
Mm-hmm.
That's on Platinum?
Dude, it's still very popular. Like they had that. I remember back when we were talking about their bad press. They had that DLC nonsense, and I think they've won their community back a little bit. They stopped trying to pull bullshit, and they are doing pretty good.
Man, that was a long time ago.
That was
like
yeah.
2012, 2013?
2013, I think. Yeah, maybe like beginning of 2013 when we were doing that.
Yeah. And so we got one more?
One more, yeah, last one. Popular in 2016 Twitch. I'm trying to think without totally giving it away.
Yeah.
Early access. Ran like garbage for a long time.
Sounds like PUBG so far. Ran like garbage for a long time.
Sounds like something Mathis played on his channel.
Yeah,
literally
got him.
any survival sim.
Starts with an A?
Ark.
There you go. You got it.
Oh, really?
Ark Survival Evolved, the final one, over 100,000 simultaneous
See,
players.
it blows my mind that Payday 2 and Ark are up there because there was such backlash this year against those games for some of their business practices.
Yeah.
Like, Payday got shit on early on in 2017, and then Ark did that whole like out of paid DLC while still in early access.
Right, that was
garbage.
the thing. Yeah, I forgot about that.
That's right.
Divinity Original Sin 2 actually made the gold list. Paladins was up there in the gold list as well, Ryan. So there you go, along with Football Manager 2017 and 2018. Both of them made the gold list somehow. Gary's mod up there as well. Rocket League was on the gold list. Rust on the gold list. And Warhammer up there too. There you go. Civ 5 still on the gold list. Civ 6 nowhere to be found. No, wait, no, there. Oh, no, that's Europa Universalis.
It just it takes time.
Yes, once Civ 6 has like as much
there it is
expansion and like extra content as Civ 5 does, it'll be up there.
Well, and it's like Civ 5. Every Steam sale has been on sale for 3 cents, so everybody owns it. And once you own it, everybody puts 200 hours into it. So
yeah,
it's the same thing. Everyone's going, "Oh, Civ 5 is the last good Civ game." I remember when Civ 5 came out, everyone went, "Oh, Civ 5 sucks. I'm just going to keep playing Civ 4." Turns out having 6 years to make expansions, patches, and DLC can eventually save the game.
Yeah. I've been actually playing some Civ 6 with my family. That's been a fun time. Nice and wholesome.
I mean, I know there's complaints and there's problems with Civ 6, but Civ 6 was the first vanilla Civ that launched more like complete than
it was fine. Yeah, no, it was definitely in a much more playable state than the previous ones. That's for damn sure. All right, let's move on here. We got the best of 2017 early access grads, the top games that left early access as measured by gross revenue this year.
PUBG.
Nice. Good guess. Good guess.
Yeah, good.
12 in the platinum list. Let's see if we can get them all.
12 games that left early access. Holy shit.
See how many you can get. We won't have to go through the whole list.
What left early access this year?
There's a few noteworthy ones for sure. Mathis, you will definitely be able to get one or two.
Don't tease. Long Dark.
There you go.
Long Dark.
Mm-hmm. That's a platinum for sure.
Yeah, that game is a nice little early.
I feel
story.
like it left a little bit of a bitter taste in your mouth at the end, though, with the final version.
I don't want to say the storyline sucks. It's just like boring.
Sure.
But the sandbox survival is still S tier, some of the best survival sim you can get.
Yeah.
The story is garbage and boring.
Battle Right's up there.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Yep. That makes sense.
Any other guesses? There's a
Hello Neighbor.
No, man. Let me see if that actually ended up showing up.
That's a surprise.
Let's see here. No, I don't think it even ended up on the silver list.
I can't do this. There's just too many games. Like
Subnautica Chat is still in early access. That's this month. It's supposed to leave.
Ark, I suppose, left early access this year. So there you go. Portal Knights made it up there. I'm a little surprised by that one. Slime Rancher, was happy to see, made it up there as well. PUBG, shock, surprise. Divinity Original Sin 2 apparently was in early access?
It was in early access.
I didn't realize that.
Play through the first act for a very long time.
Cool.
And they would just do balancing changes and that kind of thing.
Right on. A few others: Day of Infamy, Torment, Tides of Numeria, Endless Space 2, UEBS, Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember
okay.
that one. Mm-hmm.
It's a great game for meme videos.
Yes. Apparently, oh, this is interesting to me. That VR game Raw Data apparently was good enough to hit gold on the early access grads. So cool. VR's doing okay. Neat. All right, there we go. There's the early access releases. Speaking of, hey, look at this. Best-selling VR titles. I'll go through this one real quick because nobody cares.
Yeah.
Correct.
Gotta go. Right. Let's go.
A few of the top ones: Space Pirate Trainer, Fallout 4 VR, which I think I will check that out eventually. I'm really just curious what.
God, that sounds like an exercise in vomiting.
I know. I gotta know
That's
like
what's
what
weird.
it is, or even if it's enjoyable at all. So I think I'm gonna try to boot that up at some point. Job Simulator, Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades, Tilt Brush, Audio Shield, Super Hot, Raw Data, Rick and Morty Virtual Reality. The people that are paying attention to VR already know about all these games is the thing. Like, these are the games that they already own because they're pretty much the only ones that are worth playing right now. So, yeah, this is not really all that surprising of a list. And you got, like, Doom VR is on the gold there. Vanishing Realms, which I do actually quite enjoy as a VR experience. There you go. There you go. Top VR titles.
Hand Simulator, not up there.
No. Top new releases. Here we go. There's the interesting one.
Games that came out in 2017.
Oh, hold on. Oh, this sucks. Oh, never mind. This is just a list of all, like, every month. They've got, like, 10 or 12 games to talk about. Okay, never mind. Yeah, I thought this was going to do, like, the best new releases entirely. Highlights, I suppose, though, since we did something like this last time anyway. They do have Pit People and Resident Evil on there for January, Hollow Knight for February, along with For Honor. Let's just see if they match up with all of our Game of the Month selections. That'll be fun. Let's see. For March, they had Nier Automata. Yep, there you go. We got it.
And PUBG.
Yep, and PUBG. April was Outlast 2. Uh-oh. They got it wrong.
Yeah, Outlast 2 is fucking garbage.
Little Nightmares and Edith Finch made it up there as well. Hey, Friday the 13th there for May. Look at that. Prey and Dead Cells as well. There was not a lot that came out in June, man. This is confirmation of that for me. They have 5 games on the list for June. Just nothing. Tekken 7, yeah, all right. I don't need to go through the rest of this. I got a whole big list.
I'm done with 2017. Bring on 2018.
The top sellers.
PUBG.
PUBG, you got it. That's it. That's the whole
Everything
list.
else is irrelevant.
Yeah.
Forever.
There we go. Best 2017. Top sellers, Rocket League, Dota 2, Divinity, PUBG, GTA 5. It's all good. Cool. There we go. A look back at 2017. The year is wrapped up. Let's move forward to blaming PUBG for other people's failures. That's what 2018 is going to be all about.
Hell yeah, let's go. 2018 is the year people sue PUBG and PUBG sues other people.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Lawbreakers publisher Nexon blames PUBG for the disastrous launch of Cliffy B's new fast-paced, hardcore FPS experience, Lawbreakers, now rocking concurrent players in the double digits. Incredible stuff.
Now let me take you into my time machine way back to E3 2 years ago, when Ryan and I had come back from E3 and we sat down on this podcast and we both said, kind of walked away from Lawbreakers going, it's very generic and it's kind of
And
but that's not the problem.
The perception of the game, and maybe this is more of a problem than PUBG, is just that it looked like a gray Overwatch.
Yep. Very silver, gray, black Overwatch.
That sounds like it's gonna sell like hotcakes. I want to buy that one up. My least favorite part of Overwatch is the color.
Exactly. Again, it's tough. Because the press around Lawbreakers is actually that it's very good if you're looking for that kind of almost Quake style, high skill first person shooter.
Yeah.
However, I don't know if it's being taken out of context, but to blame PUBG is just hilarious. The timing of its launch turned out to be unfortunate. Specifically, the blockbuster PC online game PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds came out right about the same time, making the market environment very tough for first-person shooters in general and for Lawbreakers.
Yeah.
Sure, I mean, that's something you can say to shareholders, but I don't think it necessarily holds water for
They're not the same
other people
in any way. Like, they have guns, and you can go first-person, but they're not really comparable within the same genre. It's kind of like when I think Battleborn had a more legitimate argument blaming Overwatch their failure than I think Lawbreakers has an argument against PUBG. If people laughed at Battleborn for that being like their excuse.
Well, like also Lawbreakers came out in August and PUBG came out in March or November, like depending on who you are, December, I guess, depending on who you ask. So I don't know. You just kind of, how long is PUBG's release window? I don't think anybody would deny that it had like an outrageous effect on the industry this year, and it remained like the most popular game forever. But still, like, you know, if you release it a year from the release of PUBG, are you still being screwed by PUBG? Maybe there's other, you know, causes you could look to. That and again, I will say I hate that it kind of poisons the well, because there's probably something to be said for the fact that so many people were playing PUBG that there's less market to go around for other first-person shooters. But I mean, I think that's not really anybody's fault but your own. I guess.
Somebody in chat made a good point. It's like, well, Rainbow Six Siege did fine throughout the entire.
Yeah. Siege has come around for sure, and I don't know. It's just like you can't. If your game is multiplayer only, you can't. It becomes this self-fulfilling prophecy that we've talked about with Battleborn and, you know, I don't know, 100 other games, where if you don't have people playing your game, nobody wants to buy your game and be like the 31st person in the community. They want to be the 3,000th person in the community. So as soon as press comes out that's like nobody's playing this game, you're done. You can't do anything. So I don't know.
It's how does this marketplace continue to exist with that caveat? Like, it doesn't seem like a good idea to make a multiplayer-only game at all, unless you're, you know, Activision or EA. And even then, they're starting to experience some fallback from that.
It's really hard to pinpoint, like, my biggest turnoff from something like Lawbreakers isn't even the gameplay. The game just looked and had a stench of stale boringness. The color palette and the way it looked and the level design, none of it was like really fun to look at. Yeah. And for me, that quickly kind of turned me off from the game.
Gears has always been kind of gray and bleak too, you know, like, I don't know if maybe.
Yeah, but they've also got like, I don't know, there's a style to Gears of War with you're fighting aliens and it's kind of like all macho and all this stuff.
There's a theme to it, yeah.
Yeah, Lawbreakers still was like, it was like sci-fi, but everybody just, it didn't look sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, this is a really vague argument, and it's obviously personal taste.
And the thing is, like, it's not really easy to just look at a game like Lawbreakers and be like, what would you have done to fix the release? Because it's possible. I never talked to anybody, even before PUBG was just a twinkle in PlayerUnknown's eyes, that was like, oh, I can't wait for Lawbreakers. You know, even when we played it at E3, we were like, I guess we'll like see how Lawbreakers is. It just generated like essentially no enthusiasm from most people in advance.
I remember walking out of the little E3 thing we did, and everybody was just like, and again, this is before PUBG was anything, and everybody's like, it's functional, it works, there's fun there.
It was always like, I can't wait to see who gets good at this. Not, I can't wait to get good at this. Like, it was, there's the potential there, but nobody really wants to pursue it. Yeah,
and like I think some people have blamed the marketing, but even that I think is just like if you find something you dislike and a game fails, you can always be like, they shouldn't have done that. So the marketing that was, hey, are you sick of these baby games? Like, you actually have to have a brain to play Lawbreakers. Yeah, I think that is like dismissive and needlessly antagonistic, maybe to your
one of
target audience.
Anime fan on prom night moments, I think.
Sort of, but I don't. You know, if they don't make that ad, does Lawbreakers end up getting 1,000 concurrent players at launch and then skyrocketing into some form of sustainable popularity? Probably not. Yeah. I think it's just a game where it sucks, but you can kind of smell them most of the time. Like when we get emails that are like press releases or we play something at a convention, you just kind of go, man, there's like you guys are putting a lot of money and a lot of time into this, and nobody cares.
Yeah,
like nobody's. Very, very few people are going to care.
Nexon's latest financial results include a whopping $32.6 million expenses hole, the majority of which was meant to be filled by Cliffy B's unloved game.
Ooh.
Womp womp. I can't.
Didn't Nexon recently purchase something?
I think they own like 8% of every game publisher on Earth.
I mean, they're everywhere.
Tencent recently bought stake in Paradox.
Oh, right, yeah.
Which is slightly different, but...
Who were we talking about? We were talking about Vivendi, weren't we? That was buying out Ubisoft a little while back, too.
Slowly, yeah.
I can't keep looking at Cliffy B's sad, sad face in this video thumbnail. Lawbreakers interview with Cliffy B. Just, hey, here to talk about Lawbreakers again. It's going great.
This message to all 12 players.
It sucks too, because like I don't know. I think some people look at this and they're kind of like ambivalent. They, that's kind of where I'm at. Where I'm like, I would have liked to see it succeed, but I wasn't really that interested in it. So I'm kind of like, eh. But I think some people are watching this with glee because they have a vendetta against Cliffy B for whatever reason, and that kind of sucks. I think it would have been cool to see it succeed as a more old school ethos sort of IP for first person shooters, instead of like the world that it looks like now that Lawbreakers has failed substantially, which is like only PUBG, other battle royales, and sequels to existing franchises have a reasonable chance of being popular.
I wonder how Lawbreakers would have done is if they did something super simple, like instead of the way it looks now, they did same gameplay, but they did like strafe style of like 90s graphics as like their gimmick.
I think it would be worse.
Maybe.
I don't know, man. It's just, this seemed doomed from the start. Like, no one was ever really on board with it, and then it just came out and went, and now it's done. How do you bring it back? You can't. You make it free to play, and then that doesn't work, and then you got no other options left. So, goodbye.
What you should do is now make a battle royale mode for Lawbreakers, just like Paladins is doing.
Didn't Paladins announce a fucking battle royale mode yesterday?
It's and again, I was sponsored by Hi-Rez to play Paladins.
So was I.
Oh, that's right, yeah. I still think Paladins is like a pretty good game.
So do a lot of people, apparently.
Epic was like, hey, you want to get cynical? Well, we're going to just shoehorn a battle royale mode into Fortnite. And people were like, this is crazy. And then Hi-Rez is like, hold my beer. We're going to get the free-to-play Overwatch-inspired game also getting a battle royale mode is kind of hilarious.
Did you see, I think Jim Sterling posted the video. Apparently there is this game on Steam now that is just PUBG Trainer. It's a game about... a game based on practicing PUBG. Like, just play PUBG, right? Is the thing? Instead of buying this game?
I've drunk the Kool-Aid so much, though, that, like, if it was good, I could totally understand why it would exist. Because you don't
like specific things?
You don't get very much aim training in Battlegrounds, and you don't get a ton of feedback on your aim in Battlegrounds. Like...
Yeah.
You have to get your ass kicked a lot in order to figure out how the guns work, but I would much rather that Bluehole just release like a shooting range. And if they did that, then... Or like a very simple like wave-based PvE mode would be great for teaching people how to be better at the game. But if it were actually good, which Steam reviews indicate that it's not, it would... I could see it filling a need. Let's put it that way.
All right, okay. I thought it was just inherently silly, but that's interesting. Let's talk real quick about the Switch. Switch is selling like hotcakes. Selling faster than the Wii in 2007. That is a sentence that is about as shocking as PUBG has more concurrent players than Dota 2, I'd say. You agree? No? All right. That's fine. Doesn't matter. Point is, Switch is
surprising.
Yeah.
It's surprising. It's not surprising.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm surprised that it's sold 1 million more units. I don't know what the hell to do for this headline. Switch sells a lot. There we go. That'll work. So let me read this for you. Nintendo says it's sold more than 4.8 million Switch video game consoles in the U.S. between March 3rd and December 31st of last year. They said the Wii in that same time frame sold 4 million units, so nearly 1 million more, about 800,000 more Switch units in that same time frame. Like, the Wii was so crazy. We got to remember that year the Wii was exploding, everybody had a Wii, and this is more popular than that.
Yeah.
This is a pretty wild success story, and there's another really interesting statistic regarding this as well. The attach rate for certain games. So you would think Zelda would probably be like basically 100%, right? Or something close to that. It's only 55. So over 55% of Switch owners own Breath of the Wild. Over 50% own Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, and then over 60% own Super Mario Odyssey.
Well, that actually makes sense because Zelda also came out for the Wii U.
Oh, that's true,
So
right? So, yeah, you gotta
people only
consider
wanted
That
Zelda.
does
They were,
make sense.
they were playing it on the Wii U as well.
that. Yeah.
I definitely take the L here because I was shitting on the Switch before it came out.
I'm with you there, dude. Yeah, no.
I was not expecting it to be anything more than an interesting idea or an interesting gimmick that would need some time. But I actually really like my Switch. It's really great for traveling, for one. I adore traveling with it. But I have to give credit where, like, it has a similar thing where when the Wii launched, it had a killer launch lineup and games coming out within a few months of it launching, where the Wii U never had good games to pick up until way after the console had come out.
Yes.
I think that definitely helps the Switch like kickstart itself. I don't understand consoles that launch with no good games or very like one good game and then nothing in the near future. Like, Switch was smart. Basically what the Switch did was they always had one game coming out every month that kept the Switch at the top of people's minds. There was always like Zelda came out, Mario came out, Fire Emblem came out. You have Xenogears that came out like over here. Like, every month there was at least one game that was like, oh right, the Switch is still
1-2 Switch, gotta get it.
Except for that
Hot ticket item.
You're right. Like, they front loaded it in a way that is good. Like, when the Wii U came out, the killer app was Nintendo Land, which
Zombie U, man.
Yeah, Zombie U. I was trying to remember.
Dude, I bought 3 Switch games. 3 Wii U games when I bought my Wii U. I don't remember what the third one is, but the other 2 were Nintendo Land, which was part of the like premium pack-in or whatever,
right?
And then Zombie U. And I remember playing Zombie U and being like, this game is not very good, but it has a cool gimmick, and it's kind of made me a believer in the Wii U tablet. I can't wait to see where it goes from here. And where it went from there
is in the garbage.
Well, it was like 4 years later, people being like, Zombie U is one of the best games on the Wii U. And I was like, how does that happen? How does your weird first step that's kind of a little janky end up being like a forgotten gem? And the answer is that there's just so little else by the end that came out, especially third-party stuff.
Breath of the Wild has got to be like one of the best games on the Wii U by far, which is hilarious.
Would not surprise me. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, like I have not played the Switch much recently, but I haven't played any console much recently. So I'm like, I'm a fan. I'm glad that it's doing well. I think it's a gimmick that is actually successful. And with Nintendo, it's always a roll of the dice, whether it's going to be like a batshit crazy controller that doesn't have any appeal to anybody at all, or it's going to be something that revolutionizes kind of the console market, like being able to take Nintendo games on the go that are more console driven, I guess.
Yeah.
Thinking about Nintendo's console launches, it's always a resounding success or they're the bottom of the barrel.
Right? Yeah. It's
so
like, what a comeback. And they keep doing it too.
Like, GameCube was the worst of the 3 for that era, that's worst selling. And then the Wii came out and they were number 1. And then the Wii U came out and they were the worst. And now the Switch is out and they're like number 1.
They were like nearly forgotten in the Wii U era. It almost became the big 2 for a bit there. And then all of a sudden they were back.
Weird. It's so weird to see them go up and down.
Back when I like actually responded to criticism on Twitter, thinking that one day it might ever stop. Like, I had so many arguments with people about the Wii U. And I'd be like, I have a Wii U. I bought it at launch. I like it in principle, but there's no games. And people would be like, it's only been out for 3 years. Just give it. Well, there's one game from Platinum coming out next year, and that's going to save it. And I'm like, I don't think it is. And they're like, well, you're just a hater. Well, I'm continuing to be a hater towards the Wii U, I guess, but I'm a believer in the Switch for most part.
I think we're gonna save face this year with our console viewers. I think they're gonna grow to love us a little bit. We're gonna start with the Switch because we're all pro Switch now. I'm even gonna go so far as to say it's like my favorite console right now. I like it a lot. Like, it's not to mention the fact, like, as a streamer, oh my god, it's so easy. Like, I can move that thing around and switch it from setup to setup in 5 seconds. Like, it's so good. So, yeah, I am super pro Switch. Looking forward to playing more stuff on that. Still bummed I broke it, though. The right side is completely off the hinge, so I can't connect the Joy-Con. Not that that's a big loss, because those things are still garbage. But, you know, anyway. There we go. Switch, doing good. Still the #1 console in America, looking good moving forward.
And a Bayonetta 3.
Yeah, also that. There's really like some big games coming out for the Switch this year too, right?
I think they're porting 1 and 2 over to the Switch.
Yeah.
Have 3 launched, which is awesome because Bayonetta is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. Cool. All right. Well, not so hot console news. Microsoft discontinues.
Is it actually hot console news?
What?
This is good console news.
Oh, this is good console news. Yeah, no, this is...
This is like announcing you're getting a tumor removed. This is like, it's a... Sure, I would have rather not had the tumor, but something's got to be done.
So this is going to seem like a little bit of deja vu, I'm sure, for a few folks, as we did discuss this a few months ago, I believe, as Microsoft had discontinued the Kinect itself. However, now they're discontinuing the Kinect adapter, which means effectively that not only do they not want to make the Kinect anymore, they don't want you using the Kinect anymore. They don't want that to even exist. So,
this is when the Kinect becomes a collectible for collectors.
Exactly, yeah. So this is like... This is end of the life cycle. It is a required accessory to use the device on the Xbox One S, Xbox One X. I fucking hate Microsoft for doing this to me now for the rest of time on this show, as I'll have to clarify Xbox One S and Xbox One X for every story. But still, there it is. The Kinect adapter is no longer available from first-party sources. You can buy it on Amazon for $300 if you really need to play some... Disneyland Adventures or Zoo Tycoon, I guess.
Yeah. I never got Milo.
Darn. So, I know you guys are heartbroken. I'm trying to ease the blow here a little bit, but...
Honestly, the Kinect is one of the big reasons I never dove into the new Xbox right away, because I was forced to have it. And I was like, I'd rather just wait. And then I waited, and then I didn't want it anymore.
That was I remember still very vividly the tremendous backlash upon realization that the Kinect was basically required for the new Xbox. Folks were like, hey, no, we're not. Don't do that. Stop that.
Stop that.
Still,
that.
It won't surprise you, but still not a big fan of my Xbox One.
I'm
continues
blown away.
To have roughly a 60% success rate when pressing the power button. Just saying.
You're not going to upgrade to the 1X then, is what you're...
Absolutely not.
No.
I think that's just throwing good money after bad. Like, I might buy a PS4 Pro for Monster Hunter Worlds.
Well, let me tell you why you should then, because that's too good of a segue not to use. Because I myself... picked up a PS4 Pro. Well, I didn't pick one. I received one as a gift. A very kind gift from my family. And we went and got a 4K TV to use along with it as well. Which, by the way, PSA, 4K TVs over the last, 2 years have plummeted in cost. It's awesome. They're, way cheaper now. They're almost the same cost as HD TVs were, 2 years ago. So if you're in the market, there you go. But yeah, we managed to pick one up due to that. And... so I had absolutely no expectations for 4K. I know it's better, obviously. It's got more pixels, therefore the resolution must be better. But I was not really expecting a lot booting it up. So I was I think that's the best mindset I could have gone into with it. And turns out it's really good. it's 4 times better for real in every conceivable fashion, whether it be like the color spectrum or the depth at which you can see things or the ability to like parse out items in the distance. Like it improves my gameplay experience, which I did not expect at all. It makes playing the games more fun. So I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, for example, which I think might be the top of the line for console performance experiences right now, because I was playing it on the PS4 obviously back in the day when it first came out, and that was good. Like I was impressed by it. It looked pretty nice. But playing that game on the PS4 Pro in HDR and 4K is unbelievable. Like, I know I'm prone to hyperbole. I think I was telling you guys this before in the Skype chat when I was talking about this, but I am walking around in that game in Horizon, just going from place to place and just standing there watching visual art, because it is unbelievable. The way the rivers run across the screen. I can stand like on a cliff that will have a tree, that is descending down into the shot and is really close up, and you can see all that incredible detail, but also look out and see the river flowing and see all the little lines. There's so much more, and it's so helpful. Honestly, like it's mind-blowing to me how much it impacts the way I play, especially in like. So another one that I was checking out, because it has HDR enabled as well, is Final Fantasy 15. Which, man, does that game look better in these conditions. That makes a drastic difference. But in that game, I remember very specifically, I had issues with the combat in Final Fantasy 15 because it felt like things were way too cluttered, and I couldn't really figure out what was going on. This helps that so much. Like, I can see combat better. I can figure out where I'm going and actually, like, play better as a result. I am so totally on board with this now. I love it. I am having way better of a time playing console games than I have in recent memory. It's a huge benefit. It makes a big difference, especially as someone who has not seen or played any 4K at all. Like, this is a massive upgrade for me. So, I'm on board. I really, really like it. And I am declaring 2018 the year of the console gamer. This is when they make the comeback. This is the big moment. You guys got to get some 4K, man. It is. I wanted to gush.
I'll get on that as soon as I start watching movies on a big mushroom and booting up VR game that lets you write with real cursive writing.
This ain't like that, though, man. This is. It's just, it makes the gaming experiences better. It truly does. I know it sounds silly, but when Final Fantasy 15, first of all, they fixed that game too, by the way. They turned the car into an off-road like monster truck that you can just drive around now wherever you want, which is fucking fantastic. I don't know why they didn't do that in the first place, but like I have way more fun playing that now than I did before, and I am almost positive that, well, I mean the truck helps too, but I'm almost positive that the visual upgrade is what made the difference. And it's really satisfying. Yeah, there we go. I just wanted to gush about it a little bit. 4K is real good, man. So yeah, you're thinking you're going to pick up a PS4 Pro, though?
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because like I want to be able to stream PS4 stuff more easily. We have a PS4, but Cade streams PS4 stuff all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So a second one seems like a sensible pickup in this unique situation, especially with Monster Hunter World coming out. So I have a suspicion that I probably will, but it also requires me to get another capture card, which I'll probably just do.
I have a also I needed to experience Shadow of the Colossus's remake in the most optimal conditions possible.
Now we know you bought
if I got another Last Guardian experience where, well, like especially with this, right, where if I played Shadow of the Colossus, the remake, and like everything was great except the performance was stuttering, I would hate myself because I would know that there was a better way to do it, and I had to have that option.
Just keep chasing the dragon, man.
How much worse do you think The Last Guardian would run in 4K?
It doesn't. I tried that too.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, I booted that up.
It's like, no, we're at peak terrible running performance. Can't get worse.
No, well, it's the PS4 Pro, of course, too, that's helping it out, But like, they did make a pretty substantial difference. Like, that's definitely the way to play that game. By the way, I found that out now for sure. Like, it looks so much different, and it's incredible. Yeah. Anyway, that's enough. PS4 Pro HDR. I'm infatuated, but
you don't say.
Yeah. Ryan, let me hear about something that I know you're having quite a good time with, though. Slay the Spire.
Slay the Spire. It is a roguelite deck builder in the sense that you start with a deck of like maybe 12 cards that have different attack values, defense values, etc. Associated with them, and you fight enemies, and you get the choice of cards to add to your deck. So it's not really like a Magic the Gathering or a Hearthstone where you play a card, it goes to your discard pile, you're unlikely to ever see it again. Instead, the cards that you get end up getting recycled over and over and over and over. So you want to try to create a deck that has like a unifying synergy or theme, like I've got cards that enable poison, I've got cards that enable, being super blocky or something like that. And combine that with like some Isaac-style items called relics that give you synergies, like whenever you play 3 cards, gain 1 block. Whenever you play, a poison, whenever an enemy gets poisoned, double their poison or give them +1 poison. So you actually have like a little roguelite style deck builder, which is really neat. And I've been having a lot of fun with it. Really like playing like tons and tons of it casually, which is something that doesn't happen to me very often with single player
That's
games.
interesting, yeah.
But my question still stands to send you back down the wormhole. Just because I find it an interesting question. Like, do you think Slay the Spire's combat style would fit well into Hand of Fate 2 as opposed to its pseudo kind of bad Batman?
No.
No? Okay.
It just doesn't make sense. The more I've been thinking about it, because like the cards in Hand of Fate 2 are like, it's an encounter. It's like, here's a shop. The deck that you have doesn't have any like attacks associated with it.
Makes sense. Is this their first game?
As far as I know, yes.
Looks like it, yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I think it's been on my radar. Absolutely, I gotta look into it for sure. So their early access schedule, they're saying they want to go every 2 weeks or so with the updates. Have they been consistent with that, as far as you know?
Yeah, I think they might have been actually overshooting it, but I mean, I don't even want to talk about that because like I think that's irrelevant. Like the game is just good. The rest of it is encouraging, I suppose, but not necessarily as relevant as the fact that it's worth playing in its early access state as it is right now.
Sure.
Like there have been frequent updates, but I'm just trying to keep the discussion, I guess, on the game in its present state as opposed to put the discussion on like, is the company, made of good people or are they, should they be admonished for whatever reason? It's early access admittedly, but it's not an early access like multiplayer survival game. So I don't necessarily think the cynicism is warranted. It's just like it's really fun, and there are many different archetypes for both characters that work right now that make it quite replayable. Like it's already good.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
What cat was that?
That's Tomo.
I was gonna say that meow sounded really weird.
Tomo's got a weird meow.
Yeah, I was like,
he's a weird boy. It's not irrelevant because there isn't much content to make it worth playing right now. I respect your opinion, but I also disagree with your opinion. Even though, admittedly, some of this is for work. I've played 34 hours of Slay the Spire in about 2 weeks. So, if you think about a half hour a day for videos times like 12 videos, that's 6 hours. There's some of it's in backlog. There's probably like 18 hours of casual Slay the Spire play or something like that. So I dispute the notion that there's not enough content right now.
No, that does stand out. Like I know you well enough to know that is an unusual occurrence for something to really stick with you enough to want to play it outside of creating the content for it. So
especially for it to be single player.
Yeah,
Like I got no problem putting, a couple of hours into Siege a few times a week and then gradually getting over 100 hours in that game. But for me to be like, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to play this game that I already played for 3 hours today for recording and then also play it myself for enjoyment afterwards is rare, which is why I'm a little bit defensive about the game. Mm-hmm. But I think that a lot of the criticisms that people apply carte blanche to all early access games don't apply to this. It's a special case like a Zachtronics game where it's already not necessarily complete, but it's like there's more than enough to get a ton of time out of it, and meaningful time, not just grinding. Instead of something where it's like in Divinity in early access, you know, I don't think it really fits Divinity style, except that it was for a Kickstarter reward. Like, you'd play the first act, wait 8 months. That's kind of, I would prefer not to.
Yeah.
This, I think, works totally fine.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think, you know, there's a lot less early access phobia, I think, in general right now. And this certainly looks like it's one that, like you said, had a very complete version of what they wanted to be right out of the gate, which has been happening a lot more frequently too. Like Dead Cells and Darkest Dungeon kind of stand out in my mind right now as games that are changing a lot, but still at the onset had pretty much the game that they wanted to be finished.
Yeah.
And while this appears to be, you know, it'll be undergoing some changes, it looks like they've got basically what they want already finished, which is good.
Yeah,
It's
they have
also
the base done.
Yeah.
Well, it's also a super unique situation. Like, we've been in this era for so long where people have been making roguelites that are like, it's like Isaac but worse, or, you know, it's like, it's really inspired by Spelunky but a little worse. This is like its own thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it is kind of similar, maybe even more than kind of similar to Coin Crypt, but that's one relatively small game from like 4 years ago. So I don't think that this is like overly derivative. It's kind of a fresh take on the genre. And it's nice to have a roguelite where you can actually sit down, and I'm opening myself up to criticism here. You can sit down and logically, methodically think out, like, this is the turn that I'm going to do, and these are the reasons why, instead of just like, there's a bullet, I need to not get hit by the bullet, so I'm going to move up or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. All right, cool. Slay the Spire, it's an early access, $16. Do you know if that's going to go up for the full release, or is that going to stay the same, do you think?
If it goes up to 20, it's still worth it.
Okay, cool.
That's what it comes down to.
Right on Steam right now. Let's talk a little bit then about looking forward here. We got 2018, baby, a fresh slate, all kinds of new experiences coming around. Let's just dive into it. Are there any particular big ones? I know Monster Hunter World's certainly on your radar, right, for 2018?
Monster Hunter World for PC apparently isn't going to be until fucking autumn.
Really?
Correct.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. That's...
So I will not be playing Monster Hunter World until next year, basically.
Damn.
I won't, as much as I want to play it, like, I just know myself, and sitting in front of my TV for anything longer than like 30 minutes to an hour is just like,
I'm telling you, dude, 2018, you're going to change your ways. It's gonna blow your mind.
Bear, you have a tendency to get excited by technology.
I know.
And that's not a bad thing.
I know.
I think it's representative of the childlike wonder you carry with you.
And I preserve it desperately, despite the continued barrages of cynicism in adulthood that y'all just pepper me with on a weekly basis.
It takes someone that's more cynical being sold on it to sell me.
I know.
Yeah.
There's a greater barrier to entry.
I can't. You're literally telling me I can't get you to buy anything anymore. My entire sense of credibility is lost.
It would take a
I
lot.
get too excited.
Well, it's no offense meant.
I know.
Is the thing.
I'm looking at a big old list here. There's quite a few that I'm looking forward to. I've already said this a few times. Of course, Shadow of the Colossus, the big remake coming out in February.
Yeah.
You know what? There's a Civ 6 expansion that I think I'm going to definitely check out. I've been getting a little bit more into that. Rise and Fall, I'll be playing for sure. Ni no Kuni 2 is coming down the pipeline this year as well. Did you guys play Ni no Kuni?
Nope.
You should check it out. You know what? Fuck it. You won't, but it's good.
Trust me. Console only anime 80-hour RPG that I didn't play the original of.
Like, yeah, it takes a lot to get me to play it. I'm still plowing through freaking Persona 5, so.
Oh, good. Well, that makes me happy then. Okay.
Yeah. Subnautica's coming out early access.
There you go.
I think that's going to be a huge success story because the game as it is now is basically finished and it's great. What else is coming out? Oh, Pillars of Eternity 2 Deadfire is coming out this year.
Okay.
I'm really excited for that.
You know, I'm still okay. Where does this put me on the adulthood spectrum? I am still really excited for Kingdom Hearts 3. And I think that'll be this
puts
year.
you not on the spectrum.
Nobody but
God,
me? All right.
I remember
Yeah.
going to pick up Kingdom Hearts 2 at the GameStop I had pre-ordered. This is
You were like
prior
12 years
to
old
me-
or something like that.
Yeah, I was like, prior to me even working at GameStop, I was like a teenager.
Mhm.
And that was like the last one I played with any
How
enthusiasm.
long ago was it? It might be like 15 years ago that Kingdom Hearts
Kingdom
2
Hearts
came
1
out.
came out in like 2003.
Kingdom Hearts
I
2
think.
came out 2005. God
Yeah.
damn.
Yep. It makes sense.
12 years later.
How
Yeah,
is
so they
it
had,
possible
like-
that the target audience for Kingdom Hearts 3 is younger than Kingdom Hearts 2? That's like quite a phenomenon.
Is it? Like,
No, I was just being an
all
asshole.
right.
Like the thing is, Kingdom Hearts 1 and 2, and we've touched on this before, but the story was ridiculous, but it was enjoyable.
Yeah.
And then they did like 90 side games and a million HD remixes, and it became Metal Gear Solid's like impenetrable.
Mhm.
And it's like, what is happening in the story? And you just get to the point where like the head of the Kingdom Hearts really just likes to have cool set pieces and then build a story around the set pieces.
Yeah.
And then just make shit up as it goes along.
I firmly believe that you'll be able to jump into Kingdom Hearts 3 having not played any of those bullshit side games and probably still have a pretty firm understanding of what's going on. Like, I'm pretty sure they've got the foresight to do it that way. Like, they know no one fucking gets it, right? They don't even get it, I'm sure. They're just buying into the hype. The new DBZ fighter, we keep talking about that on this show. That's coming around this
I
year
am
as
going to
well.
get into that.
Mhm.
I'm actually like prepped. I'm going to set time aside for that game.
Oh,
I want to
yeah.
get good at that game.
How long will
won't-
that last? Start the pool now.
Yeah, it won't last, but I want to, and if I can figure out a way to keep it interesting for myself, getting beat over and over and over again by
Yeah.
people online, then I want to get
Well,
into it.
that comes out like extremely soon.
A couple weeks, 2 or 3
Yeah,
weeks.
Mhm.
comes out 3 weeks from today.
Damn, dude. Well, there you go. Get ready, man. Set some time aside. You're gonna.
I
I'm gonna get destroyed.
I
I'm gonna get so
really
destroyed.
doubt that I am going to play it, but I might, because it seems good. But I've already been down that fighting game track of like, man, if you do it, Mathis, by all means, but it's too late. You'll be like you're
know.
you're Anakin Skywalker, and the community is going to be Yoda saying that you're too old to. You've got too many responsibilities to get good enough at fighting games to have a ton of fun with them online.
Yeah.
I think.
Because all the Blaze Blue or Blaze Blue, whatever, all those people are going to carry right over to DBZ and be like, yeah, we've played this company's fighting games for like 30 years. We're just going to demolish you.
Yeah.
And it's not going to look like a Dragon Ball Z fight. It's going to look like Goku going ham on a civilian.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it'll be like a really stylish game to lose a lot in.
There you go. Yeah, that's an optimistic viewpoint.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's see. Well, Red Dead Redemption 2 supposedly is on the way for 2018, so gonna be excited about that. No, there's a few others that I was thinking about. Oh, God of War, of course, as well. No affirmative release date for that one either, so it might be pushed another year. Far Cry 5 comes out March 27th. Ryan, you and I played like the Far Cry games.
Yeah, you, me, and Nick we're the Far Cry boys.
Yeah, but how are you feeling about this one?
If it catches me in a lull of stuff to play, and it ends up seeming good, I might play it. Because I think, I don't know, it's like a caricature of myself. But when I played Far Cry 4, I think it was in 2014. Is that when it came out? I gotta check because it's
Pretty
actually
sure.
relevant. It's relevant for this discussion,
Might be
unfortunately.
2015.
Far Cry 4.
We were podcasting. I know that much.
It was
because
2014.
Yeah. Mhm.
I said like when Far Cry 4 came out, my opinion of it was like it's just more Far Cry 3, and you guys were
Yeah.
like, "But that's fine."
That was-
And it is fine.
That was like one of
but-
our first shows, I think. Yeah, it was that one.
So like when I played through Dragon Age Inquisition, a lot of these happened in 2014. Shadow of Mordor, Far Cry 4. I said Dragon Age Inquisition.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Like I had more free time, and I've filled up that free time with other stuff. So to play through a game like Far Cry is a tougher sell for me now because I know like it's gonna be fun, but I can have fun doing a lot of things. This is what I said. It's a caricature of myself because I'm struggling to like get to the point. However, it's more like, am I going to have any lasting impact or enjoyment from Far Cry 5. Maybe. I liked Far Cry 4. I played through the whole thing, and by the end of it, I was like, it's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if that experience carries as much weight now. Like, I'd almost, like right now in my head, I'm like, I'd rather just play more Siege. I find it more rewarding to get like 0.5% better at Siege with that time than to play Far Cry 5.
Did you play any of Primal?
No.
Yeah, so like I think that's when I booted up Primal and played it for like 45 minutes to an hour and realized that it was effectively 4 but spears. It was it was like really disheartening for me, and I think like that maybe has left a little bit of a sour taste in my mouth for the series. So I don't know, like I'll probably still, it's a Ubisoft game, so I assume they're going to send it to me, so I might very well just check it out based on that. But
well, it also is that weird, like, The Last Jedi thing, I think, about it, where people want, there's been so many Far Cry games over the course of the past 6 years that people want something new, but I think if it doesn't have a scene where you take Montana meth and go on, like, some kind of psychedelic trip where you shoot park rangers or something like that, people are going to be like, where's my Far Cry? This isn't my Far Cry.
Yeah, Watch Dogs took a nod from that, too. That was like...
Can we start a petition to remove Primal from canon?
I don't even know if it was that bad. It was just like, it was the exact same game, and I just didn't really want to play the same game again.
Yeah, so you're like, I like Far Cry, and I would play more Far Cry, and then when you play it, you're like, I've already played this.
Yeah,
that's the Assassin's Creed thing. Assassin's Creed was the same way. It was like, people don't want more Assassin's Creed, then give it 2 years, and then instead you bring back the same Assassin's Creed, but instead tiered loot drops from it. And that's the difference.
I know we're past this, but I was kind of surprised that, like, I watched a lot of the Giant Bomb Game of the Year stuff, and I was surprised how many people had Origins as like a top 10, top 8 game of the year.
Yeah.
I was just like, maybe I'm overly cynical about it, but I was like, it would take a lot, I think, for me to get to that point. But
like,
I also didn't play it, so
no, I was just gonna say that, like, you guys didn't really even touch it, right? But I put like,
I played it for like 30 minutes and had to return it because it just didn't run well.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yeah, I keep forgetting that. But like, yeah, I put like a few hours into it. It's good. Like but I think you're 100% right in that if you've played Assassin's Creed, you don't really need to play this. It's pretty much the same. It's just it's a good Assassin's Creed game though.
I just think like we're in a weird position where everybody is always like, we want new stuff. We want new stuff all the time. Games have to be innovative. But then if it bucks tradition, it oftentimes ends up getting a more mixed response. So I don't know. Do we know what we want? I was in the same boat where I beat Shadow of Mordor and it was like, more Shadow of Mordor. And then Shadow of War came out and I was like,
nah.
It's just the same shit over again. I don't want this. Like,
yeah, but like Shadow of War is the same shit over again with added grinding, which is what. And I put how many fucking hours into Shadow of War? Like 14 hours or some garbage amount. And like I walk away from being like, no, Shadow of Mordor was more fun because while it was mindless and it was a little grindy, it was very streamlined. But Shadow of War was like, no, okay, that, but also like loot hunting for special orcs and defending your base, and it's the same thing, but for like 30 more extra hours.
Yeah.
Really boring.
Dude, that's why Zachtronics games are like the ideal, because every single game is the exact same thing but new. So, hey, it's Shenzhen.io, it's TIS 100, but this time you can put multiple TIS 100 things together. Hey, it's Opus Magnum, it's Shenzhen.io, but this time you're making potions instead of making like computer programs. So the next one, I'm sure it'll be like, this time you're making, it's a plumbing simulator or something like that, but it's still just Shenzhen.io. It's perfect.
So we got Yoshi and Kirby, working titles for the upcoming Switch games. Did either of you play Woolly World? I
did.
You did?
Yep. I liked it. It was really easy, but it was really fun. It was enjoyable. Again, as much as I shit on the Wii U was the console I always was like the only one I ever played when it came to me sitting down in front of the TV and playing something. That's because Nintendo first-party games are always enjoyable. But Woolly World was fun. Wasn't something special in my opinion, but it was good.
So we got Yoshi to look forward to then. There's a couple more, I think. Thought I saw a couple more. Anyway. Oh, there's.
I'm interested to see what Switch gets this year because the first year was like loaded. So
it'll be a very interesting year for Nintendo.
Oh, Metro Exodus is coming out this year. Hell yes!
All right.
Yes, I love the Metro series.
Detroit Become Human, I believe, is slated for release this year.
I'm going to play it. I'm going to hate it.
Yeah? All right. There you go. At least you're planning
That's
on it.
actually like another reason for me to get a PS4, because I think that would be a perfect subscriber game.
Yeah.
That's going to be a game that's going to be so easy to riff on.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then A Way Out. Fuck the Oscars. Coming out March 23rd as well.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
I want to do a series with that with somebody. I think that'd be really
that'd be a lot of fun.
Because it's internet co-op, right?
I believe so. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and only one of you needs to buy it.
Yeah.
So.
Sweet.
Dope. Fuck buying 2 copies, right? There you go.
Right.
Days Gone. That's that crazy zombie swarm game as well. That's coming around this year.
Yeah.
Has an extreme uphill battle to make me care.
Yeah.
Yep.
Anything else? Not really looking like it for me. Oh, Metal Gear Survive. There you go. Get ready.
I mean, like,
boy.
Into the Breach for sure.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm eager to see where that goes. I feel like there's other stuff. Like, I doubt Spelunky 2 will come out this year.
God, I
but
hope so. Oh, that would be wonderful.
we'll learn some stuff about it, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's always, like, there's things where you don't remember at the start of the year that they're coming out, and then in May they go, hey, this is coming out. And you're like, oh, right, I remember that you were working on that, and I was excited about it. So I'm sure there's going to be a lot of stuff like that, but I by definition cannot bring it to mind at the present moment.
That just reminded me of this. I want to mention it. It's not even really directly related, but I did get Drop Mix over the break.
Right,
you guys.
the harmonics.
Yeah, it is so fun. Oh my god, and it's
I've heard it's really good.
really impressive technology too. And I know we just talked about this. I know, but like, it's really like they've got these cardboard cards that you put on, and it reads the music from them, and you can like stack them on top of one another, and it's still able to figure out which one it is. And you're like creating all these incredible remixes. Really cool stuff. Like that is a lot of fun, and the game is actually kind of fun too.
Oh yeah, BattleTech's coming out this year too.
BattleTech, what is that?
BattleTech. Paradox is publishing it. It's Harebrained Schemes.
Oh, the Shadowrun people. Mm-hmm.
Correct.
Yeah, and BattleTech is what Mech Warrior is based off of. But it's going to be a turn-based strategy game with an open universe kind of sandbox style, tell your own story while you're managing your own mercenaries.
Okay.
You have to like hire mercenaries and repair your mechs and modify your mechs, and you take on jobs for certain governments and help them take over like the galaxy.
Wow, yeah, okay, that's pretty ambitious.
No, it's super up my alley. I'm super pumped.
It's a big project, damn. I think that's about it. I'm sure, again, like Ryan mentioned, there's several that we forgot to mention that we'll be reminded of as the year goes.
Ryan, Weed?
Weed, it looks like a great game.
Weed?
It's a colorful anime graphics match 3 called Weed.
Huh.
Oh, shit. Boobs. All right. This could be on my channel.
Nice.
What the hell? Why do they call it Weed?
Why do you think?
I mean, I get why. But like...
Dynasty Warriors 9! Well, actually, hold on. No, they were doing open world Dynasty Warriors this time, weren't they? So I'm actually legitimately kind of interested in this.
Dog, none of us are going to play Dynasty Warriors.
I am.
Let's be realistic. I'll engage the conversation about whether any of us are going to play the new Kirby.
Yeah.
The odds... Has anyone here played any Dynasty
Dude,
Warriors?
wait, no. I love Dynasty Warriors.
Way back in PS2 time, and I remember playing it and going, what's the point?
No, I'm complete opposite. I loved that game back in the day. Me and my buddy would play it all the time. 2, 3, 4, 5, even a little of 6. I loved them. So I was a Dynasty Warriors boy. I might play a little bit of 9. I even have... What's the one I have on Steam right here? I've got Dynasty Warriors 8 Extreme Legends 21 hours. What do you think about
You
that?
played 21 hours?
21 hours of Dynasty Warriors 8.
I stand corrected.
There you go. I think that's probably it then. Yeah, that sounds about good. Cool. Well, there we go.
Well, what was nominated for most anticipated game at the Game Awards
Let's find out.
2017?
Yeah. I mean, I want to say Death Stranding, but I don't think that's going to be a 2018 release. Yeah. I was reading an interview with Kojima that was suggesting they're on a quite accelerated development cycle, though, so that's exciting, but I won't get my hopes up too high. What were the actual nominations?
I'm scrolling.
Up right now?
I'm scrolling.
He's scrolling.
Scrolling.
What is
and
Bloodstained?
That's the Castlevania Symphony of the Night Kickstarter game.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Still scrolling,
It's a big
man.
list, dude. They got a lot of stuff.
Okay. Marvel Spider-Man.
Uh-huh.
All right, I'm excited.
Mathis, I know, is excited for that, right? Yeah.
Yep, I'll definitely play that. That'll get me to play my console.
The Last of Us Part 2. Those are the two we missed.
Don't really care. Personally, I like Last of Us.
You got that 4K HD on.
I know. I just
it'll be a great movie, but it is not a great game.
it's just I don't know.
Sorry, I know people. I've been yelled at before for saying it, but Last of Us 1 was a phenomenal story with mediocre gameplay.
I agree. I really don't understand the complete. Naughty
Story.
Dog, I think, just draws cult-like love a little bit. Like they've got a big old fan base. Yeah, I think that's about all. But it's a good year, man. Got a lot of stuff to look forward to. Should be cool. We'll have to get with Nick next week to figure out what he's excited for as well. I'm sure he's got a few on his radar. I'm sure he'll be ecstatic to talk to you, Ryan, about your experience with Undertale finally as well, having completed that this past few weeks. So we'll talk about that soon, I'm sure.
We're really going to do a show where we talk about Undertale?
Yeah, well, I mean...
It's 2018.
We really going to play Undertale on Twitch? It's 2017. Come on.
Oh, I didn't realize that it was an ongoing contract. There's a package deal. I'll go through the Undertale story right now. We don't need to do a whole show.
I need Nick here.
Undertale is a good game.
Don't talk about Undertale.
That's the end of Undertale. In fact, it's better than a good game. It's a great game.
Really? All right.
Undertale is extremely good.
That's good to hear.
Subvert your expectations.
It subverted my expectations in many ways.
Mm-hmm.
The main way it subverted my expectations is by subverting my expectations within the game of what combat means, what are experience points, stuff like that. It does a good job of that. The other way it subverted my expectations is that I thought it was going to be a meme game because all the community talks about are memes and the OST. And in my experience, and it's not a meme game. It has a genuine heart. And of course, I think like there was a nugget of that, but instead people just, hoy, and then you don't realize that that's great for the people in the community. They're like, I recognize that reference. For everybody else outside of the community, they go, I don't want to be around that because it's weird. So we gotta.
Fandom is trash.
I don't even want to say.
Jesus Christ!
I don't want to say that the fandom is trash, but the way that the fandom is virulent is that in a way that is cancerous. Yes. So
no, I can't say.
His was a lot better. Yeah, shit.
But you would say they're cancerous instead.
I didn't say they're cancerous. The way that they spread is like a cancer.
It's similar to a cancer, right? Yeah.
Because it's just like. Instead of being like, hey, this game's good, you should play it. It's more like, hoy.
Hoy, Temmie, lol.
It's so, lol, it's so precious. Is anime real? Ha 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 ha. And then like, yeah. But then like, I don't think...
Streaming their own memes to themselves as they get quieter and quieter as you're standing there.
I don't think the fandom is that bad. My chat was fine. Yeah. Honestly, people, if anything, I think people overreacted. When there was ever any backseating, people were like, the Undertale community's trash. And I'm like, you should watch me play anything. I can't go to a Twitch channel anymore without getting backseated. This is where we're at. This is what I've aspired to and achieved, and now will be slowly encased in as I scream. So I go to Austin's chat. Hey, Austin, hope you like the game. LOL, Northern Lions here in episode 14. Blah, Austin's already better than you at this game. Blah. So I just leave. Now.
I'm sure you saw the chat when Slay the Spire even got mentioned about like, Ryan playing Slay the Spire logically.
It's not even like Corey's chat is not as bad, but it's still like it happens, and I don't begrudge it because it's like nice that you're known, but at the same time, I just want to watch my friend play a game that I like on Twitch, and maybe we can have a conversation together. And it's like, nope, sorry, because there's 400 people in chat going, lol, did you know that he's good? That's fine. I'm not upset about that. I'm just upset I can't chat because it's always about me. I need like an alt to go to chat and chat. My pride won't let me do it because I also want the attention.
Your pride won't let you. I see what you did.
Your ego
won't let you.
I just don't want I want everybody to respond to what I say, but I don't want to ever face any criticism. Is the thing.
Let me take you under my wing and teach you what it's like.
Teach you what it's like. This motherfucker acting like he's not the one showing up in comment sections for week-old videos looking for criticism of himself. Come on, man.
You got to fight back, right? That's the difference.
No, there's not. Like, it doesn't even bother me. Like, backseating doesn't bother me at all. I just want to chat without having like I'm done. Hey, I made 9 videos today. Let's go watch 45 minutes of a stream on Twitch before dinner. Hey, in episode 8, did you know blah blah blah? Like, it's just inescapable. I need to become a Chad. I need to spend more time outside because my experience on the internet is dominated by misplaying cards right now, and it's a fucking self-created nightmare.
Just let him chat. Just let him chat.
Just be cool and let me chat.
Be cool, little
He
chat.
just wants to...
Just be cool, little chat.
Sweet dreams, little chat.
What were we talking about a second ago?
I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Before, I don't even remember.
Yeah, we were talking about 2018 games. What we're looking forward to.
Undertale is where it all.
Undertale. Yeah, no, that's what it was.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, Undertale's great. I got no problem saying Undertale is great. And I will say Undertale is great without even adding the caveat that the community sucks. Because I don't think that that's necessarily true. But I do think that the community is like, they don't understand, or maybe they don't care about the way that they come across. But it's a lesson for fandom in general. It's like, I hope if you're a fan of us, you don't go around just like yelling, "Let's go!" in like your friends' faces
for
over
that.
and over.
NLS is Circle Jerk subreddit. That is your outlet.
Yeah.
Just be cool. Yeah.
Friends.
Just when you're in the wild, just be like, "Hey, I like this thing," and it's cool. But when you're in the company of other people that are insular within the community, you can shout, "Let's go." That's fine.
If you're really desperate, just get tattooed on your ass cheek, "Let's go."
That's also fine. I'll accept that.
Now, I'm 100% sure we're the kind of show that people don't tell their friends about, and I'm all right with that. That's just that's just the corner of the internet I occupy. Speaking of which, hey, everybody, thanks for watching another episode of Roundtable Live. Appreciate you hanging out tonight. It was a lot of fun. Appreciate the continued support. First show of 2018. Look forward to doing plenty more shows moving forward. Of course, going to keep up that new Game of the Month segment that we did last year. It was a lot of fun to look over that during December, so we're going to be doing that again, keeping track of all of our favorite games that we play throughout this year, and looking forward to probably even having a few more developers on this series for some more interviews. Looking forward to talking to some folks about fun games and just doing Roundtable.
How long have we been doing this now?
Coming up on 3 years now. Yeah, which is
February?
Wild. Yeah, I think March actually was the official first one. I'll have to go back and check, but 3 years of Roundtable Live. And hey, if you've enjoyed any part of that 3 years, if you're new or if you've been around for a while, why don't you go ahead and consider going over to patreon.com/roundtable. Maybe toss a few bucks a month our way. Keep the show going. We really want to say thank you to those of you who have been supporting at that $20 level and above over there on patreon.com/roundtable. Really does go a great length to supporting what we do here. And I am going to keep saying a sentence as I load the list of names that won't pull up. Here it is. Julian Avelsgaard, Jonathan Graham, Scrotty119, Ricky Grist, Simurfed, Cowboy Chemist, Eric Schooley, Stephen Aoki, James Peed, Peter Sunnison, Ellis Spice, John Kalchik, O's Thomas Games BR, Jakar Sampson with a dance number, Kolnar, Sahoa, Joseph Boss, Penn Gillette, Talks to Wall, Chaos on Holiday, BRB Theorist, welcome back, buddy, Colby Klein, Greenlight, Oren Saltzman, Brizzlebrit, Positron, Mythscare, Mediocrities, Justin, and Logan Ray. Over here on the Twitch side as well, want to say a big thank you to those of you who have been subscribing to the channel here on twitch.tv/Roundtable Podcast, where you can catch the show live every Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific. Big thank you to Killamex Kodak, Edricon Sluppus, S. Pedrickson, Captain Skinny Pen. Oh, okay, I'll give him Captain Skinny Pen instead. Rob Bobberts, Midori Sensei, Blue Wall Pate, Hosted Radio, Alex Timo, Vaping Kiwi, Yankee Scoozer, Kirby Mercury, Baroin Designs, Boshi Time, Melu, Von Gooder, and Super Mercible. Thank you guys so much for keeping the support up on Twitch, on Patreon, everywhere on the internet. Appreciate you watching and listening to the show. And we'll be back next week. Nick should be here. Mathis is going to be off. He's going to PAX South. So we'll say sayonara to Mathis.
You see me at PAX South, say hello.
Nobby, thanks for getting the sub in at the end here, buddy. Appreciate it. Thank you all for watching very much. We will be back next week with more Roundtable Live. We'll see you then. Goodbye.
Goodbye.